That the motion be agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Hume.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise today to pay tribute to a great man, a community leader who by anyone's measure was an inspiration and a role model. He was a friend of mine. His name is Gavin Jones. He took his own life in July at his farm at Goulburn, just near mine, at the age of 47. Gavin was perhaps best known as the founder of the Deadly Vibe Group, which published Deadly Vibe magazine and produced the Deadly Awards. The Deadlies started in Sydney 2 decades ago, celebrating achievement and excellence in the Indigenous community. I attended last year's event with Gavin. Great social entrepreneurs leave a legacy, and Gavin's legacy will loom large. He was able to lead and inspire others as few can. His simple motivating idea that we should celebrate Indigenous success will live on well beyond his life. Gavin's name is added to the many others Australia has lost to suicide this year. While we can never understand what motivates someone to take their own life, it is always a tragedy. As this motion before the House asserts, over the past 5 years alone, average suicide deaths a year in Australia exceed 2,400. An absolutely shocking number. Deputy Speaker, in the Goulburn area, in my electorate of Hume, suicide rates are disturbingly high, particularly amongst young people. Preventing further suicides is a goal motivating many local families, a number who have already lost loved ones to suicide. In 2003, a Goulburn suicide working group was formed to look at positive ways to address the issues and target risk-taking behaviour. The group identified a range of ways to reduce the risks of further suicides. Greater community education across the community. Of course, suicide should not be a taboo subject. Greater networking and information sharing between preventative agencies. More readily available public information on suicide prevention, as well as information to support families who are grieving. Research has shown that suicide and self-harm behaviour cuts across gender, race and socio-economic background. The Goulburn Suicide Working Group identified that any genuine response needed a whole-of-community approach, collaborative work practices and government funding support. Against this backdrop, and after years of community campaigning, I was very proud to welcome the announcement last week of federal funding for a Headspace centre for Goulburn. Health Minister Peter Dutton announced 15 new Headspace centres to be established across Australia, including one at Goulburn, providing mental health services for young people aged 12 to 25. This will bring the total number of Headspace centres in Australia to 100. 11 of the new centres will be in regional Australia, recognising the special issues faced by rural and regional communities when it comes to youth depression and isolation. I feel great pride that we will be able to offer this for young people in Hume. It is not just for Goulburn, it's for the broader district. We held a celebratory morning tea at my office in Goulburn last Wednesday with tributes to the tireless efforts of many people who have campaigned for a Headspace, including the late, great Trish Cunningham, Mayor Jeff Kettle, Simon Bennett from Anglicare and Jo Cunningham. Jo lost her own son Hugo to suicide in 2012. In hearing the Headspace news, she said, "You always have to find the positive out of something very, very negative," and that's what the community has done. Thank you, Jo, for showing such courage and strength in seeing this through. We still need the local community to keep pulling together to ensure the Headspace Centre is everything we want and expect. It will take the best part of 2 years for it to be up and running, but because we know it's coming, that's a great motivator. Deputy Speaker, the Headspace Centre is a great outcome for Goulburn, but there is still a lot of work we can do in terms of broader community education. 3/4 of all mental illness manifests itself in people under 25. The links between mental illness, depression and suicide are well known and well documented. So as a caring community, we have a duty to continue finding new and better ways to raise awareness about the risks of suicide. After the tragic event of someone taking their life, it can sometimes be said, oftentimes in fact, that there was no signs that anything was wrong. There was nothing anyone could have done. As a caring community, we need to look harder and we need to act sooner. I commend this motion to the House.